probe Deeks even harder to find out about some of these new chaps, because I'm thinking, Chris, first, that with all of it's 9, isn't it, signings for Brentford this season and all the publicity that got, because of course there wasn't a huge amount of money spent in the Championship and Brentford spent a huge amount, that the B team possibly in the shadow a little bit of all those new signings. But there are some new chaps coming into the B team, one leaving yesterday. But I'm going to turn to you for headline team news, because we've got 3 of the mainstays of the A team are going to be starting the game to get some minutes this evening, Chris.
Yeah, we do. In terms of the B team summer, slightly in the shadows. There's a full change at Brentford's first team. Quite a few in and out the door. For us, I think the biggest story was Kolbeinn Finson going to Borussia Dortmund yesterday. That was a huge one for us. Kind of came out of the blue in terms of right at the end of the window, just trying to get it done and get Kolbeinn off. But we wish him the best of luck. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic move. He's got a lot of potential, and it's one of those things. A lot of the fans were saying, why hasn't he made it into our first team? I think the answer is quite simply we have a lot of very talented players.
Yeah. And he'll be playing men's football essentially, because Dortmund second team, are they in the
third German division?
Right.
So he'll be playing third tier football in Germany, and that's already a step up from necessarily what we can offer him here. I know there's a lot of competitiveness in B team games, but moving to that environment can only be good for him. And in terms of tonight, obviously Kama Makocho coming back from injury, he really needs the minutes more than anything. You've got Joel Valencia, who just, again, we've only seen him once this season, could do with some game time, and the same with Drew Yearwood as well. And earlier on today we played a friendly at Jersey Road behind closed doors for a few of the lads in the B team who haven't got many games. That also featured Said Benrahma for 45 minutes.
All right.
As well.
So the idea, I heard, because I met Neil McFarlane for the first time this evening, and he was talking about that. So this kind of show that was put on at Jersey Road, featuring some of the players that are kind of perhaps on the cusp, they're kind of between the B team, maybe they've outgrown the B team, people like Hardy, I understood, played, and maybe there isn't a place for them on the bench with the A team yet. So it was scouts were invited down. It was like a kind of
it was almost like a showcase game. We had the likes of Reece Cole, Joe Hardy, those players who are looking to maybe obviously find a loan move or find something that's maybe they're not going to get game time in the Brentford team. Maybe a year away from the club would do them really well. It was that sort of game. The likes of Ellery Balcom and people like that played. People who, as you say, aren't specifically in the first team plans, but could do a job.
And Said Benrahma, did he play the first 45 minutes or the
first
second
45?
Right, and then presumably went to Leeds.
Was whisked off to Leeds at that moment in time.
Oh, very encouraging. Well, before I speak to Amber, then let's give you the teams. Brentford B, then number 1, Patrick Gunnarsson in goal. O'Connor, how do I pronounce that, Deeks? Cerula. Nick Cerula, Drew Yearwood, Johnny Mitchell, the Scotsman, Jan Zamburek, Camo Makocho, number 8, Jaden Brissett, wearing 9, Gustav Morgerson, Joel Valencia, David Titoff, who's normally the captain, I understand. And then on the bench, Shepherd is the goalkeeper, Oksanen Kare, Arthur Reed, one of the signings from Bury, Joe Adams, Christian Tu Jensen.
Joe Adams came from Bury, Arthur Reed came from Luton Town.
Oh, Luton, that's right, yeah.
And tonight's captain is Camo Makocho.
All right, Camo wearing the captain's armband. West Ham United, Dan Kemp is their big star, wearing 7. They line up with Martin in goal, Ashby, Hannam, Forson, Nakaya, Alese, Kemp, Rosa, Afolayan, Scully, Jew, a huge bench, so presumably they're going to make a lot of changes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the bench, so we'll expect some changes. The coaching staff for Brentford B has changed this season. The head coach, Neil McFarlane, very experienced coach. Alongside him,
Mr. Sam Saunders, who needs no introduction to Brentford FC fans, made quite a few appearances, was very popular with the fans, and has, in the same vein as I suppose Kevin O'Connor was for the development squad all those years ago, bringing him in. He knows the club, he has experience, and I think he's come in and been a perfect fit.
Just before we kick off, then the other voice you're going to hear this evening is Amber Lloyd. Amber, introduce yourself and what you do at the Brentford FC Community Trust, please.
So I am the Female Football Development Coordinator within the Community Sports Trust. So I coach all the female football and develop them as players.
Thank you very much indeed. We're going to be bringing Amber in, find out what she does and what's going on down at Uxbridge, and also get her expert eye as a level 2 coach. This is what's going on down here. Brentford get us off and underway then, wearing red and white striped shirts, black shorts, black socks. West Ham in all white with the traditional claret and blue piping. It's a beautiful evening. Just a little bit of a chill is creeping in, and a fair crowd over the other side in the Braemar Road. Here is Camo Mkocho wearing 8. How have we, Amber, how have we set up? Are we 4-3-3? Are we 3-5-1?
At the moment, 3-5-1, what I can see.
So playing with it, yes, I think you're right. The 2 wide men. Brissett. That's the advancing wing-back Cerula. Lovely play from Brentford. Mkocho might have a go here. Scuffs it slightly. Your body's in the way. West Ham being pressed really high by Titoff. And a bit of an emergency clearance. Oh, came off a West Ham player, so we have our first corner of the evening in the first minute. Amber, who's harder to coach, would you say, the boys or the girls?
It's not harder. I wouldn't say either sex is harder to coach, but I think that females take on the information better that you're getting across.
Are they more analytical, would you say, the girls?
They ask a hell of a lot more questions, yes.
Right. So they understand why they're doing it?
Yeah, they want to understand why they're doing it, so they know that they won't make the same mistake again. Obviously, the likelihood of it is going to happen, but they know how to correct their mistake.
I'll ask you to give you an example of that in a second. It goes all the way back to Gunston. Brentford not making too much of the corner, but tidy up nicely as a result of it. It's poor from Gunnarsson, that is, but Brentford somewhat get away with it. Back to Martin, all in yellow, away to our right-hand side. 2 gone, 0-0. It's Billy, Chris and Amber with you. If you're just joining us, wherever you may be, you can, of course, comment on the YouTube page. Also, of course, if there's any happy hammers joining us, you're also very welcome, naturally.
Seen quite a few in the crowd, to be fair.
Yeah, no, there's a few wearing the older vintage shirts over there. West Ham's first attack down the left-hand side, Rosa. Well marshalled, though. And it's a Brentford throw-in. Sam Saunders, you can hear shouting. Man still with the smartest hairdo in TWA. It's risky. It does make me nervous, all this playing out from the back. I'm very old-fashioned. It's hoofed clear in the end, but of course the percentages are very clear, aren't they, from the the original analysts when they first tipped up in the 70s and 80s, that if you banged it down the pitch you were going to lose possession. Is that something you advocate, Amber, playing it out from there as a level 2 football coach?
As a defender myself, I really enjoy playing out from the back. I think that it's better to keep possession and work your way up the field than just hoofing it and hoping for the best, really. Unless you've got a player that's very good in the air that you know that's going to win it, but the likelihood of that happening is quite minimal, considering you're waiting for your keeper to kick the ball as well. So it's not always going to go.
You're also trying to stretch teams, aren't you? Kind of trying to tempt them out of position, perhaps, if they get impatient.
Of course, you entice them to come closer to the ball to then play around them, which then causes gaps in the middle of the park for you then to play.
That's a clear foul on Jan Burrett. We were talking earlier on about there's no necessarily right or wrong way to coach, especially if you're being assessed. Clearly you're an advocate of playing out from the back. Is that something that, is there a kind of philosophy that goes through the whole club, would you say?
I think it depends on the coach and the manager, really. Depends on what they like and how they feel is the best way to play football. I agree with keeping the ball and working the ball forwards as much as you possibly can instead of just hitting it and hoping, really.
Pitches have improved over the years, of course, which helps. Here comes that some tough tackling from Jaden Brissett, and he gets his rewards. Brentford want to get on with it quickly. And In the middle of the pitch it goes. Drew Yearwood, who showed some good touches in the game I saw against Cambridge in the League Cup. That's a great ball to switch it a tit off the ranging right wing back. Gets it back. Of course, as you'd expect, a lot going through Makocho. Done really well to lose his man there as Zamburek. The shouting you can hear is Neil McFarlane. Well, he looks fit to me. We shall see after an hour or so, perhaps, Chris. Oh, terrible mistake. But Gunnarsson is there, onto it. The referee lets that one go. Went down easily, the West Ham man, perhaps. And now Yearwood. Oh, unlucky there. Spin it with the outside of his right boot for the run of Morganson. As these B-team games always go off at a fair old pace, don't they? 100 mile an hour. Referee's given that, has he? He has. Just enough, perhaps, to clip the heels of Morganson. He's a tall lad, isn't he, Morganson?
He is. He's very tall. He's an absolute... In terms of like what you want as a striker, the template is absolutely there. Like you think about the coaching staff at Brentford, if you were to give them a template to say, go on then, make a striker out of him, he's tall, he's quick. Gustav's got a bright future here.
Well, I hope they all have, Chris. Just quickly before this free kick, Amber, coaching badges, do you actually get a badge to sew on your tracksuit?
It's a certificate.
That's really disappointing. I think that Jan Zamburek fancies this, you know, and the ball, we're at a really good angle for this, and the ball is protecting the left-hand side of Martin's goal, but there's enough to get this round, I would say, with his left foot. Zamburek straight into the ball. Commentator's curse. There's enough support to... Oh, that's a great goal. What a great goal. Just toe poked it, didn't he? But he knew exactly where the goal was there, Brissett, turning through 180 degrees. Brentford 1, West Ham under 23s 0. Chris Deacon.
That was a great goal. I mean, in terms of what you want from a player up top, you're taught to like just hit it as soon as you can. If the goalie doesn't know what's going on, how are you going to know what's going on? And he's literally done that. He's taken it on the turn. It was, I mean, Zamburek's done really well to recover that. I mean, in terms of the free kick, it was pretty poor, but he's done well to look up, find a player straight into Brissett, and the finish is superb. One touch, bang, and David Martin, who is quite experienced Championship goalkeeper in terms of his experiences, has no chance with that in off the post.
I think that you should get an extra half a goal if it goes in off the woodwork. That's just one of my proposed changes to the game, along with having one player on roller skates, but that always gets laughed at. Either way, Bees are 1-0 up. You can see how much it means to them as well, folks, by the way they celebrate a goal there. You know, this may be a friendly against an academy side who presumably are in an academy league, are they, West Ham, Chris?
They're in Premier League 2.
Ooh. So they get regular games. Do they actually have a table?
They do. They have two divisions,
like the combination,
and promotion and relegation. They got relegated last season.
See, so this is a friendly for them, but for Brentford, in many ways, all the friendlies aren't friendly. Going to be taking part in one of the cups or both of the cups that Brentford took part in
this season?
Right, okay.
Middlesex FA, who they are currently champions of.
Currently the holders.
And London FA, who they are beaten finalists.
Runners-up, I believe. That's what we used to call it when I was a lad, anyway. Brentford are on top, I would argue, Amber, would you?
Yeah. Yeah.
No real penetration from West Ham yet. There was that one mistake at the back, wasn't there? But apart from that, it's been an impressive performance. It played at a high tempo, comfortably through the three at the back there. Mitchell looks comfortable. Drew Yearwood looking to see him use that left foot. Wand of a left foot, of course. Right feet for some reason are never a wand. Left feet are.
I'm a left-footed player.
Are you a sinistrist? You have therefore a wand of a left foot. 9 gone. Bees 1 to the good here. Oh, that's a lovely turn. Little swivel of the hips from Brissett. Also gives him the space to go square to Cerula. You'll note there, of course, that Cerula, off he goes, and straight away Mokotjo is in that left back berth, isn't it? That's one of those things that you don't see when you're watching the telly. Oh, that clever little nudge from Morganson on the blind side of the referee, and he nearly got his head on it. 10 gone, 1-0. Most entertaining so far, Amber Lloyd.
Yeah, I like the way that they keep the ball. It's really, really impressive, actually.
Yeah, that's why other coaches always praise the Brentford setup. It's pretty to watch at its best. Heart in mouth at its worst. Out-muscled somewhat there, Kane O'Connor. O'Connor wearing number 2. Oh, I'm welling up.
O'Connor as well.
Yeah, I'm welling up. Oh yeah, good point. How is Kev?
He's very well.
Glad to hear it.
On his way to Leeds, I imagine, at this moment in
I
time.
should think he's probably there by now, hopefully.
I believe he was the designated driver for Saeed Benrahma, so he might not quite be there yet.
Oh, right, so Saeed was like, I had visions of him sort of like being whisked onto the coach. But
No, not at all. That coach had left before. He's getting a personal service from Brentford's finest.
That is brilliant. Insider knowledge. This is because, in case you missed that, there was a friendly between a Brentford XI and an Aldershot XI down at Jersey Road earlier on, which allowed the sort of showcase game for some of the players that are betwixt A and B team. And Saeed Benrahma played the first 45 minutes of that. And then, I understand, was taken by Kevin O'Connor up the M1, if you'll excuse the expression. Brentford won, West Ham under 23s 0. A goal between the 8th and 9th minute by Jayden Brissett, a toe poke on the turn. Over the top it goes. He's going to keep that in, is Kemp. And that will be West Ham U23's first corner of the evening. Floodlight's not on yet, we just got enough light. The shadows lengthen. 12 minutes in then, West Ham corner. It's going to be an in-swinger. Man-to-man marking. It's headed half clear by Mitchell. It's going to come, no it isn't, there's enough Brentford shirts in the way, hunting in a pack there. Here's Mokotjo, seeing a lot of the ball as you'd expect. Over the top to Brissett, he's onside. It's a decent enough take. Great movement ahead of him. Titov goes for the early ball. And maybe he had time there, Amber, or was he going for the corner? He looked as though he had time to control it. Off balance, perhaps?
Yeah, off balance, I think.
It's another corner for Brentford, though. Billy Reeves, Amber Lloyd and Chris Deacon here with you. Hope you're enjoying the match wherever you may be. Over the top to the back post, right in the danger zone. And Brentford keep it. Referee's letting a couple of feisty challenges go, which is good to see for an old-fashioned git like me, because that was a strong one, but it has allowed Brentford to keep the ball. Oh, looks a lordy. Gunnarsson caught in possession, gets away with it.
I think he's a little bit rusty, Pat. Hasn't seen some game time in a while because he's been training with the first team and obviously has had to deputise on the bench a few times. And he hasn't played for the B team either, so that rust is still going to take some time to shake off.
Is that something that you can coach? A goalkeeper receiving the ball when he's not expecting it and three great big lads piling down on him?
No, just hit it and hope.
I guess all goalkeepers are expected to be able to play it with their feet.
Yeah, nowadays, yeah.
In your experience, are goalkeepers frustrated outfield players anyway? Or are they all mad?
No, they're all mad. I take my hat off to any goalkeeper, though. I could not stand in a goal and throw myself at a ball.
Yeah, exactly. Not much to do, and then suddenly you're putting your body on the line.
Especially when you're expected to use your hands and feet nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Oof. And your head, of course, sometimes. And other parts. So as a level 2 coach there, where does that put you, Amber, in the sort of pantheon? What would be the next stage up from that?
So my next stage would be my UEFA B, which is mainly focused for you coaching the 11-a-side games, so the ages of 14, 15 and above. At the moment, or in the previous years, I've been coaching younger children, so haven't really needed it as such.
Okay, so what age do they start playing 11-a-side at the
depends
trust games?
On the gender, so boys is under 13s, under 14s and above.
All right.
And girls are a little bit later. At the trust, with our girls development centres, we like to keep it 7 to 9-a-side. 7-a-side to 9-a-side.
And smaller goals, smaller playing area?
Yeah, so it would be a 7-a-side to 9-a-side pitch, or 9-a-side goals, really. It's just so that they get more playing or more touches of the ball when playing.
Makes perfect sense to me, because, of course, my generation, most of the people listening to this would be playing on a full-size pitch, full-size ball at 11.
And if you think about it, there's only one ball and there's 22 players on a pitch, so how many of you can
run around after it?
Yeah.
So busy time for running these trust schools then. What would it be in the school holidays?
Yeah, so the school holidays is used for planning time for us, for our development centres. This year we've got...
Oh, we split the lines, he's offside though. Sorry, Amber.
With this year we've got... we're starting new centres for our boys, so we've got the development centres. We've got an advanced centre, and we've now set up performance squads, which will hopefully be up and running in October.
Wow, and this is down at Uxbridge, where
this will be down at Uxbridge.
Used to be.
Yep, so the Uxbridge High School and Gunnersbury Park, the new sports complex that's being built there at the moment.
Wow.
And we've also got it across the Richmond borough as well. So we've got it in Hillingdon, Richmond, and Ealing.
Wow. Cool. Yeah, I guess as the club's reputation spreads, it's important that the trust's reputation spreads well, because it's a separate organisation, I understand, isn't it?
Yeah, but we're kind of in line, because obviously without the Community Sports Trust, it's quite difficult to engage with younger fans, whereas we've got the front to go and coach, obviously from the ages of 5 right up to 18-year-olds. So it's almost our job to bring in the younger generation to our games.
Oh, good call. That was a decent enough cross, I thought, there, Deeks, but perhaps just a little bit too high, floating in the air for Morganson.
Yeah, not bad at all. I think what we learnt from the recent Denmark tour, there were 2 absolutely outstanding players. One of them was David Titov as captain, and the other was Gustav Morganson, who was brought in. And I think the one thing the coaching staff wanted to make him was more of a nasty striker, if you know what I mean. Someone who just gets in the face of a defender. He's 6 foot whatever, and he's going to just cause you trouble. And I think that's part of that game plan. Just pop it into Gustav, see what he can do. And he's a big body to have in there.
West Ham are starting to grow into this as we head towards the 20-minute mark. That's a free header! And Gunnarsson...
Lucky there.
Yeah, Gunnarsson looked as though he had it covered, despite the dramatic throwing himself across to his right. Should he have done better, Amber?
He was unmarked.
Header, yeah.
He was unmarked, so...
I guess the first thing you've got to do is stop the cross coming in.
Yeah. Stop the cross, man mark. Push him off his game.
There you go. That's the one thing I know about coaching. Still going to write that down. Stop the cross coming in. Quick one over the top, mixing it up a little bit. They do look a little bit nervous at the back, West Ham, but certainly comfortable on the ball. Starting to come into this game. 18 gone. Brentford 1, West Ham United 0. Brissett with the goal between the 8th and 9th minute. Mokotjo, Valencia and Yearwood out there getting some game time. All done well so far. Great hold-up play. Brentford on the march. There's one over here, which is Brissett. Fed well by Zamburek's hard work. Morganson trying to set up Drearwood onto his wrong foot. So another ball in. Goalkeeper comes for it. Uncomfortable punch, but just does enough. Exciting play from Brentford on both sides of the pitch in the final third. And, Camo safety first.
They press the ball, I like that.
You'll hear Neil McFarlane say that a lot, immediate. That's what he
Right.
shouts all the time. It means basically get on the ball as quick as you can. If you lose it, you need to get after the ball wherever it is. So you hear him shout immediate a lot of the time.
Okay, yeah, that's a new one for the football lexicon for me.
Takes a hell of a lot of discipline, though.
Great ball across the top. Well, just an early shot, just trying to catch Gunnarsson out. On a fine, but just not enough really. But yeah, sharp break from the Irons. Oh dear, Gunnarsson's ball didn't go very far. Oh. Brentford have lost it, Morganson. But it comes to naught. 20. 1-0 Bees. Still no need for the floodlights. We have enough light. What do you reckon crowd-wise, Chris? I'm dreadful at judging numbers.
I mean, I'm just as bad as you. I reckon there's at least 200 over there.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'd go a little bit more than that.
All right. Well, we will get an official attendance later on, so we'll see. Oh, I haven't got a Scoob. Nice to see. Free football around Griffin Park. Get yourself down here. Plenty of football if you're nearby. It's the Braemar Road stand that's open. That should be Pats. It is. Gunnarsson comes out for a somewhat dramatic take. Not really been troubled, has he, Gunnarsson? There was the free header from Rosa.
Yeah, I think they're not really taking their shots on target, to be honest with you.
I think you're right.
Switch.
Yeah, nice crossfield ball taken well on that far side. It's Kemp. Both referee and linesman have decided that Yearwood's challenge was illegal. Free kick in a very dangerous position here, near the fulcrum of the 18-yard box. Brentford with everybody back. Absolutely everybody in and around that 18-yard box. Leaving no one up. This is going to be whipped in with his right foot by the looks of things by Anthony Scully. A couple lurking on the edge of the box. Scully hands on hips. I think he's only got one thing on his mind. It's going to go high. It is, and with pace. Oh, Gunnarsson came for it. I don't think he got anything on it.
I think he got a touch.
Or if he did, he got enough. Certainly a round of applause from the Braemar Road suggests that he did just about get enough on that. In which case, good goalkeeping. Kudos. He's a real shouter, isn't he, old Neil, down there. Very experienced coach, of course.
Very experienced player as well.
A very experienced player, yeah. I wonder who it is, who's the good cop and who's the bad cop. Sam Saunders and Neil McFarlane. West Ham get on with it quickly. Brentford are backing off somewhat here, allowing West Ham to play a little triangle. Tackles are going in but not effective, half cleared. Player out wide. Oh, that's a nice little skip by Olifian. Wins it again. Again, referee letting a couple of things go. And Brentford just about keep their shape very deep. West Ham keep it. Nice little period of possession, but a poor ball forward, really. Valencia, oh, nearly on his bike. So important that is, isn't it, Chris? The relationship, when you play this system, this formation, the relationship between wing back and wide man of the front three. Relationships, what Thomas was talking about in his press conference yesterday, is relationships.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is one of the prime examples of why the B team works so well. I think in this situation, you've got a good mix of first team and B team players. They might not necessarily play together a lot, but you form those barriers in this game, and you step into the first team picture, and you're going to be somewhat used to it.
Yeah, same for everybody in the Championship, of course. If Brentford are, the A team are sort of like being a little bit slow out the blocks, of course it's the same for everybody. David Titov, one around the corner. unlucky. Just a little bit uncomfortable for Morganson. But West Ham can't get past the general, and Brentford have got 5 ahead of the ball here. Oh, it's a good ball. Kocho hits it, and congratulations for the worst attempt at goal of the entire evening. Goes to Camo, and just hit his shin first. 25 gone, Brentford 1, West Ham U23 0. My name's Billy Reeves. Amber Lloyd from the Community Sports Trust, one of the level 2 coaches there, and Chris Deacon is on my left, who looks after the publicity, the press.
Absolutely zero coaching skills.
Communication for the B team. I'd argue that maybe zero coaching qualifications.
That's true. Sorry,
but, not necessarily zero coaching skills. I mean,
have you not thought about doing any qualifications?
No, I'd be a big advocate of big, tall strikers, but apart from that, I wouldn't really have any experience.
Oh, that's a good challenge. Corner, though. West Ham have had the better of the last 5 minutes, I would argue, Amber Lloyd.
Yeah.
Would I be correct in that assumption?
I would agree.
Well done, me. Another corner then, going to be whipped in from the left-hand side.
Chris, what do you prefer, zonal marking or man marking from corners?
I'm a bit of a fan of both, to be fair. Speaking as a former very, very low-level goalkeeper on Watford Friendly League's pitches in the age group of under-16s. It's always good to have a few men on the post, etc., but I think the rest of them pick up a man.
That should be comfortable for Gunnarsson. It is a long-range scudder from Ashby. Kocho. You can see, of course, West Ham know that everybody knows that Brentford play this way, so they do press high, looking to force that error. That's when it makes us old guys nervous. When you think, hang on, some dilly-dallying and shilly-shallying here, and once you start giving the other team confidence that they can take the ball off you in the final third, then you... That's the old heart a-racing. But hopefully it wears them out eventually. And West Ham being allowed to keep the ball at the moment. McFarlane seems pretty relaxed about it. Brentford 1 to the good, thanks to Brissett's early strike. Toe poke, which went in off the post. It's a poor ball. And Brentford can maybe now take a little bit of the sting out of it. 27 gone. McFarlane in front of us, hands folded in the pale grey training kit.
Mr. Saunders has come up to the gantry for a better look.
Who's coming up to the gantry?
His
Sam
assistant.
Saunders. Be still my beating heart.
I think the last time he stole your biscuits, didn't he?
He did steal my biscuit, and then a row ensued as to what flavour it was, because it was, I don't know how, there was a sort of terrible misunderstanding where I accused Sam Saunders of mistaking the biscuit. It still gives me nightmares. Mistaking the Biscuit, of course, great band.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great band. Electro Clash 2002. Over the top it goes between the two defenders. Rose up, and he just couldn't get a connection. Offside, though. Kocho wants to get on with it quickly. Referee gives a thumbs up to the lino on the Braemar Road side. But he'll be disappointed he didn't make any kind of connection. Clever from O'Connor there, coming across his man on the blind side of the referee, not allowing him to put Gunnarsson under pressure. Lovely little triangle. Oh, that was gorgeous, that. And Kocho is away. And he split the lines as well to Zamburek. Oh, it's just not enough on it for Brissett. Classic Brentford there, Amber Lloyd.
Yeah.
You enjoyed that, didn't you?
I did.
Sharp passing. Done well. Kocho's up in this attack, but he's left a gap behind him, trying to volley it. And I think he knew all day long that that was a foul. But it did stop a clever foul, perhaps, because it stopped the progress of West Ham down this near side. Sometimes perhaps a little clever little trip. Is that something you coach?
You're not supposed to, no.
The dark arts.
Sometimes it's got to be done, though.
Maybe maybe I've just found my role as a coach. I could coach the dark arts. How to tug a shirt on the blind side of the referee. That, unfortunately, was a clumsy challenge. And Brentford have given away a cheap free kick here after West Ham's break. And 30 on the clock now, still 1 to the good, but West Ham have had the better of it, really, the last 8 minutes. This is going to be an in-swinger. Big lads are up from the back. It goes near post. I think looking for the run of Nakaya. Can't quite get there. Comes off the referee's shoulder. Entitled to stop the game now, of course, if it gives a unfair advantage, but that time it didn't. It's good defending. Kempensian Burek going toe-to-toe. Waiting for support somewhat. The cutback is on, though. The shot is on. And that is a good save.
It was a good
Gunnarsson getting some oohs and ahs from the crowd. What went wrong there? Why was he in so much space? Scully.
I don't have the answer for you,
We'll
sorry.
have to watch it. We'll have to watch it again. Scully just checked his run, I think. Wasn't picked up.
I think that's where Camo's meant to be. Obviously, Camo as the defensive midfielder would be there, but obviously he's covering left back. So you've got Cirulo out of position, Camo's at left back. There's no one in that hole. And so you're left with an absolute free body. I mean, he should have done better. But
Well, yeah, I mean, he actually had a little bit more time even, but saw the whites of Gunnarsson's eyes. Good save, though. It's up in the air. And Brentford have dealt with that corner very well. Now, Gunnarsson's done something there, Chris, that is my new bête noire. The thing that's annoying me the most now, right, is holding out the palms. I think it gives to the opposition the idea that you haven't got to scoop what you're supposed to be doing and you're frustrated with your colleagues. And I don't think footballers should do that because commentators are always experts on body language. If you're doing this, if you're holding the ball, especially if you're the defender trying to find a colleague and you're doing this, it's suggesting that something's gone wrong and it gives the opposition that little bit of impetus that something is up, and I don't like it. Can you tell Thomas? Thank you.
I mean, I'll tell Neil. I won't tell Thomas a thing.
All right. Tell them both. Just came across his man there, did Hannam, and he's been punished for it, for an illegal block. Brentford get on with it quickly. Clever, doesn't quite come off. Drew Eward there trying to get involved, perhaps not been involved as much as he would like. Camo reads it. Here's Makocho. Oh, unlucky. Just played it at pace to Brissett to beat the man, and Brissett would be disappointed he didn't take control of it. Actually, because we're a couple of seconds behind, we kind of have got a replay to our right, because we're just about 5 seconds behind real time, or in front of real time. Or we are real time.
We
anyway.
are real time.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Sorry, we're getting on to some deep philosophy now. 33 gone, 1-0 Bees. Brissett with the goal. Great finish from the number 9. Some challenges going in, which is good to see. Half an hour gone then. Your assessment so far of Chris Deacon from Brentford FC?
I think it's been good. I think it's been a good game, certainly. Yeah. There's been chances at either end. I think West Ham have certainly grown into the game. They didn't necessarily look as if they were ready for Brentford's kind of style, but they've adapted to it well. And to be fair, there's been a few of our chances, even against the run of play. That one with Brissett, there's just been lacking slightly the final pass. But there's no shortage of action, that's for sure.
Interesting you say that, because speaking to Neil McFarlane very briefly before the game, not completely fussed about who West Ham have bought, who they're playing. You know, I guess that's the one of the major advantages of coaching the B team, is that it's very much about our game, isn't it? That you're interested to see if they're going to bring any first teamers, but there wouldn't have been a huge amount of discussion before this game about how, you know, about individuals and who West Ham are playing, I guess.
No, not at all. I think, you know, we go some places and you come up against maybe 5 or 6. I think we remember playing Bournemouth here before when they brought their entire new summer signings. Yeah. Jefferson Lerma and all those sorts of players. It was quite an experience. But I think they always, you know, with the B team, you always want to see a few first team players in there, a bit of experience. And see how things are going, but as a rule, I think you're always going to play about the same sort of age group, and we've seen today it's quite an interesting mix.
Yeah, because if they're under 23s, I guess they're about the same age. It's a great ball. Brissett, can he turn? He can. He's looking for support, though. Outnumbered somewhat, but he's done well. And Zamburek trying to take at least one of those out of the game. Does well to win a free kick. To get on with it quickly. Kocho, perhaps not the best timing of the ball by Titov. My goodness me, he's done well there as David Titov comes inside, trying to get a shot away perhaps. Perhaps fortunate to get the free kick there.
Good play from him though. I
think well, he was just inviting it, wasn't he?
He sort of deserved it, didn't he? He'd done so well the first bit. The last touch was a bit heavy, but he'd done really well before that.
So they may have been going down. Just a little lean in though was illegal though. It certainly wasn't shoulder to shoulder. Look at me, I'm an expert on the laws now.
I think Brissett may pull rank after that last one from Zamburek.
Yeah. Well, Zamburek has had some first team experience, of course, hasn't he? A couple of appearances, I think.
Yep.
From the bench.
Debut against Hull, and then a game in the was it the Cup?
Yeah.
Against Cambridge from the start.
Yeah, scampered around at Cambridge, got lost a little bit towards the end of the game. It's going to be Brissett, isn't it? Wallop. Straight into the nether regions of one member of the West Ham wall. Caught amidships.
I mean, that was ironically one of Sam Saunders' prime range, that.
Yeah. Well, wasn't that the position, the greatest moment ever in the history of the association game? Boxing Day, Sam Saunders falling over, getting up and then scoring.
I think I've heard that story a lot more since he's joined the coaching staff. But
just absolutely hilarious. The fact that everybody gets up and just takes up the position they were going to take up anyway. You see all the Brentford players just sort of like trot back into position.
I think the fact Jay Bidwell doesn't step over the ball again is quite evident.
It's so funny.
I think they know Sam's going to hit it.
It's so funny. So third division. God bless him. He's not very far away from where we're standing, folks, so I should perhaps say that sotto voce. Brentford again press well after the free kick. Little nudge in the back there, your correspondent thought. Referee agrees. And Brentford have now got a little bit of control back after a little bit of a purple patch, minutes 25 to 35 for West Ham United. But Brentford now pushing for that second goal. 1-0 up presently. Still no need for the floodlights. Oh, unlucky with the 1-2 there. Has what's his face? Rakic been officially promoted to the first team, Chris? Oh, so I'll just break off there because there's a break on here. With plenty of West Ham players forward. A long-range shot. Gunnarsson gets something on it, and there's the equaliser. Well, dilly-dallying at the back. And in the end, it's a smart finish from Scully. Gunnarsson unlucky. And just as I was saying that Brentford were getting back in the game, essentially Brentford style, gift the opposition a goal. 1-1.
Yeah, I think Pat will be unhappy with that. I think as a goalkeeper going down to that range, it's from quite a way away. He's hit it well, but I think Pat will be looking to catch that. And I think you can see now he's a bit annoyed with himself, throwing his arms around. He definitely a goalkeeper of his level who's had first team experience. I think he'd want to catch that.
Scully got his body shape right. Camo and referee having a little bit of a meeting about something that happened earlier. Well, that's disappointing after Brentford were just coming back into it. They'd got West Ham's defence on the back foot. And the opposition down at Griffin Park gifted a goal. Valencia, who we've not seen a huge amount of thus far. It's Morganson that's down. Rakic, has he been officially promoted to the first team?
Not yet, no. Still contracted as a B team player.
Right, okie dokie. Yeah, because he looks good. Obviously, we've seen him in B team games, as have you. Is he impressed so far? Playing for the first team?
Yeah. I mean, we saw it with, I think it's been a template over the last few years. You saw it with Mepham. You got a few good games at the start of the season, and then maybe the side will look to maybe tie him to a first team contract. It might be the same with Luca. Could be the same with any of the players you start to see on a regular basis. So, you've seen it in the past. You probably will see it again.
No, it's very handy, of course, because there he is, ready to come in. We're at sort of like a little bit of a mini injury crisis at the back, and he's played as a 4 and played as a 3, and he looks good. I mean, obviously the it's Panika, is it called, the penalty that he tried to take?
Panenka.
Yeah, Panenka, that's right.
It wasn't the best penalty,
No,
but
it
I think
really
he knew
wasn't.
that.
He'll be haunted by that because he played so well. The game against, I'm talking about the game against Cambridge.
Well, he got man of the match as well, which is I think I don't think he wanted to go and collect the award afterwards, but I think you're right. He's adapted to Championship football superbly.
Yeah.
Like, there's been absolutely no issues with him. He's looked just as confident as Ethan or Julian either side of Pontus. So I think he's going to be one of those that you'll see more and more often in our first team this season.
My goodness me, am I looking forward to going to Leeds tomorrow?
I think you're not the only one.
Big time. I mean, myself and Adam Pope, my colleague at BBC Leeds, was the first to get the sniff that Pontus had been, sort of removed from the training ground at Leeds because he wanted a little bit of extra time off, the story goes, after playing in the summer. And so Adam Pope got in touch with me on that Sunday saying apparently Brentford have made an offer. So I thought, there's not a huge amount I can do. I can't really ask Phil Giles whether or not they've made a cheeky offer. I got in touch with Uwe Rosler saying, I wonder where Pontus is. If he's not training with Leeds United, where is he? I wonder if he's back at his alma mater. Of course, Uwe, straight back, loves his Brentford, doesn't he, does Uwe?
Does. We saw him here not that long ago with Malmo.
Came straight back to me and said, yeah, he's been here. Really like him as a leader, like him as a player. I've spoken to him about Brentford. I'm surprised the Premier League club hasn't come in for him. I hope Brentford get him. So I just wonder how much Uwe had.
I think it plays a huge role. I think when you talk to the lads around the training ground, you'd be so surprised at how much a personal recommendation means. You'd be so surprised because if you ask someone, what's it like at this club, you've got no other frame of reference, and if they say, it's fantastic, then you're only going to take that on board.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting transfer. Great clearance at the near post. But the slip allows Zamburek to scamper down. Not sure Yearwood was expecting the back heel, and the breakaway comes to nothing. The counter attack. Three minutes of the regulation, 45 to go. 1-all's probably a fair reflection of the game thus far. So Amber, what do you actually have to do? A bit of a weird question to answer in a short space of time, but what do you actually have to do to get a UEFA B licence? How long does it take?
It can take up to 2 years, really. You have to do certain things, like player profiles and things like that to gain the qualification.
Coursework.
Almost. It's pretty much coursework.
A certain amount of hours then, so you could do it quicker or longer than 2?
So it's a certain amount of coaching hours as well, and planning and preparation towards it. Obviously, you can't just do one coaching session and that's it, your UEFA B is there. You have to do it on a regular basis and show that you have worked with the team that you are with for a longer period of time. They like to do it, or they want you to be working with an 11-a-side, obviously, team and set up, for you then to show your knowledge of the game and your almost coaching philosophy out within in that.
So you could do UEFA B coaching 14 to 16-year-olds.
Yeah, because they play 11-a-side, so it's normally for them when you're getting into 11-a-side, so when they get towards adult football. And it's getting your coaching philosophies out of that. So for me, I like playing out from the back, so that'd be something that I'd definitely...
So presumably someone is following you around with a clipboard and a pencil.
It's not so much like that anymore. I think it used to be. It's more free-flowing, and if you can give an answer as to why you're doing something or justify certain things that you're doing... But there's an assessor there? Yes, yeah, of course, yeah. Not every training session, but towards the end of your almost booklet pack that you've completed, yeah, you do get a final assessment, but some people go in thinking, oh yeah, I don't need to practice, I can just go and do it. It's not that easy.
So what does that entitle you to do? Because you hear that UEFA A, you have to have a UEFA A licence to coach in the Premier League. But, all levels of English football.
I believe that UEFA B can take you pretty much obviously not Premier League, but pretty much anywhere. It can get your foot in the door at certain places, and then obviously, depending on where you are, depends on whether or not the club will commit to getting you onto your pro license or UEFA A, and it depends where they see you within your coaching. If they want you to manage and take a first team, then yeah, the pro license or UEFA A is something that you should really be aiming towards. At the moment, obviously for me, I'm still playing myself. So.
Oh right, okay. Who do you play for?
I play for Maidenhead United, ladies,
right, okay.
or women now they're called.
Yeah.
It's National League, so two below Super League.
So where do the women's team play at what level at Maidenhead United?
We play National League, so it's two below the Super League. Where Super League's the top league. It's Super League 1, Super League 2. Then you've got the National Northern and Southern Prem, and we are South West Division 1.
Right. Okay.
Prem.
Oh, it's very high level then.
So it's pretty high. We play at Maidenhead Stadium, York Road. So
yeah, which are club game places. Maidenhead United.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So as I said, playing myself, it kind of reduces the opportunity that I have at the moment for taking a team on the weekends, because obviously commit to coaching 6 days a week with the Community Sports Trust to then play on Sundays. So very football orientated.
Yeah, 7 days a week.
Being at Brentford as well, every home game.
Oh, right, which is where I've met you, of course. 2 minutes, I think, there, Chris. Did the
2 minutes.
The voice of Gillam?
It's not Gillam, unfortunately.
It's not what?
He's with the first team.
Oh, of course he is. Yeah. Ooh, who is it then? Who's got the gig?
It's our resident DJ.
Ah. Well, he's honoured, quite frankly.
He is.
Honoured. Well, late free kick for West Ham United, who have acquitted themselves well thus far. Been a pretty even game. No quarter given. Challenges flying in. Attacking football both ends. It's been played at a fair old pace. As we head towards the half-time break. A free kick for the Irons. Going to be whipped in, right-footed movement. Oh, I built that up a little bit. That was a load of old rubbish. And that is half-time. Brentford 1, West Ham United under-23s 1. Jaden Brissett with the early breakthrough for Brentford. A toe poke from the edge of the box after Brentford won the ball back after a scrappy free kick. Anthony Scully with the 38th minute equaliser. A long-range shot from Ashby, palmed into the inside left's path, and with only Gunnarsson to beat, but at a sharp angle, he made no mistake. 1-1 at half-time. What do you want to do at half-time then, Chris? Want to have a chitter-chatter?
I think we'll take a break this time,
Should we take a break?
We can come back a little bit earlier from the second half.
Yeah, that's quite enough for me. Right, we'll be back with you in about 5-10 minutes now. I'm going to take advantage of those biscuits, if that's all right. Billy, Amber and Chris will be back with you in time for the second half. 1-1 at GP. welcome back, folks, to Griffin Park, where we stand 1-1. Brentford taking an early lead through Jayden Brissett's turn and toe poke, and Anthony Scully equalising it after a little bit of a mistake at the back. Gunnarsson palming the ball into the inside left's path, and he made no mistake. 3 first-teamers have started the game for Brentford. They're still on the pitch, being Joel Valencia, wearing 16. Although we are going to see a substitute. We are going to see Joe Adams joining the fray shortly, and a couple of West Ham substitutes. They brought 10 subs, West Ham, so there will be some changes. So Camo Makocho, Drew Yearwood and Joel Valencia all out there for Brentford. So 14 and 15, Holland and Powell coming on for West Ham. Dan Kemp won't be playing the second 45 minutes. He's someone that's on the verges of the first team at West Ham. And it's Brissett who makes way for Joe Adams, one of the new signings. Oh, I can't remember which way round it is. It's Bury, isn't it? He came from Adams. I think Reed, Luton,
yeah,
Adams,
Reed's Luton.
Adams, Bury, where of course there may not be a Bury football club in the next few days. But Brentford then, Gunnarsson in goal, O'Connor, Zarula, Yearwood, Mitchell, Zamburek, Makocho the captain. Up front now Joe Adams, wearing 19. Morganson, the big centre forward, wearing 12. Valencia and Titov, who's normally the captain, the flying full-back. Substitutes for Brentford not used thus far then. Shepherd, Oxanam, Correa, Arthur Reed, Joe Adams now on the pitch, and Tu Jensen. Even Stevens pretty much first half. West Ham had plenty of the play, especially towards the end of the half. Valencia's ball just behind Zamburek. My name's Billy Reeves. You may know me from such radio stations as BBC Radio London. You'll find me at almost all Brentford games, shouting into a microphone. Alongside me, the Level 2 coach, Amber Lloyd, from the Brentford Football Club Community Sports Trust. He's been telling us about what's going on down there. We'll speak to her further. And getting the teas in presently, Chris Deacon, who looks after the communications department of the Brentford B team down at Jersey Road. He's a very nice man. 1-1. And we're off and underway. Brentford attacking the goal away to our left-hand side because we're up in the gantry on the new road. So attacking the Ealing Road end. Braemar Road is open if you want to come down, if you're nearby. In the next 45 minutes or so. Free entry. 250 we reckon in. And if you haven't heard, we were talking about this earlier on, there was a showcase game at Jersey Road earlier on featuring some of the players that are betwixt the A team and B team, the likes of Joe Hardy, with some scouts coming down for looking at potential loan moves. They played an Aldershot 11, did the Brentford 11 down at Jersey Road earlier on. In the first 45 minutes, Saeed Benrahma played for Brentford, and he was then taken by Kevin O'Connor in Kevin O'Connor's motor up to Leeds to join the rest of the team. So Saeed has travelled to Leeds with 45 minutes competitive football under his belt. Thomas Frank did say in yesterday's press conference that he and Camo weren't fit enough to start yet, and with Camo being here for this game, I would assume that means he won't be travelling tomorrow. Hopefully Norgard will be a willing replacement. Bit of a miss kick in the end by Rosa, and he's hurt himself doing it. Lovely move, Amber Lloyd, that from the West Ham. This new law, of course, meaning that you can pass the ball within the 18-yard box.
Do you like it?
It's means some very high pressing. But I think anything that it's given away by Brentford, sharp shot, well wide, should have done better. I think. Afolayan. I think that any law change that means more goals. That's what I'm interested in. For example, I'd make the goals bigger. I mean, the goal is the same. Obviously, any law change has to dribble down the rest of football, so it can't cost too much money. Whereas, of course, changing the goals would cost everybody money. But I think UEFA and FIFA have probably got enough to slip a few quid into it, because the goals are the same size as they were when the game was first invented, and human beings have got bigger, and goalkeepers have got much great gloves on. What they've essentially done, of course, is make the ball lighter and smaller over the years. What about you, as a defender?
I like it. But I also don't, because it means that they can press quicker.
Yeah.
But it means that you get to play out from the back, or you can enter the box and then the striker will follow you to create gaps within the midfield.
Yeah, they're trying to tempt you into a mistake, aren't they? Whereas you're trying to play past that first line of defence. But essentially means you're playing out from the 6-yard area half the time.
We've got the rules of sin bins now within our football.
Right, really?
And they're given instead of.
Do you mean at the junior level, or
no? Well,
at the level you play at?
Yeah, so at the women's level and below now. It's now they get yellow cards for dissent. Well, it's not yellow cards, but it's a yellow card / sin bin for dissent.
Oh, wow.
So arguing with referees and stuff like that, something that's not classed as like dangerous play.
That's interesting. So what other levels has that been brought in at? Arthur Reed, I think, has now joined the fray. He has. Arthur Reed on for Brentford. Just have a quick check as to who's gone off. Thanks for the tea, Chris.
Drew Yearwood.
It's Drew Yearwood. Thank you.
Quick off the mark, I know.
Thank you, not off. He's good, isn't he? Right, so what other levels of football has that been brought into? The sin bin?
I believe that's been brought into the football men's, I want to say tier 5 and below.
Okay.
Might be tier 6, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say tier 5 is conference.
Oh, no.
So it might
below
be
conference, so it's...
Conference South, Conference North?
No, it would be...
or below that?
It's tier 7, it's regional, isn't it?
Yeah, so your Evo sticks and...
Yeah.
Wow.
And things like that.
So at Staines Town, they'll have a sin bin. Wonder where it is. Where is it, first and foremost? Is it?
It's just off the pitch. It's just a 10-minute... It's almost like rugby, 10 minutes off.
Yeah, but where is the actual sin bin? I just got this sort of like vision that there's this sort of like special sort of like
I don't think there is actually a bin.
Has it happened so far?
No, not yet.
Right. But just for dissent, so a kind of orange card, sin bin.
Almost, yeah.
Just like in rugby, of course. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because there's some quite lively players on my team.
Go on, name names. Who's most likely?
No, can't do that. But do like to argue with the referee, and obviously instead of getting a yellow card now, it's straight sin bin, 10 minutes off, so you're down to 10 men. So
wow.
Or women, should I say, 10 women.
No, that's interesting you should say that, because of course, you are down to 10 men, aren't you? Even though you're women. Yeah,
so I think you can get up to 3 sin bins within the space of a time, so you can go down to 8 players on the pitch.
Fantastic.
Which is crazy, absolutely crazy.
Fantastic. Well, no, again, but any rule change that means there'll be more goals.
But then it reduces the dissent and the arguments and the silly comments, really.
Having said that, are footballers role models?
Yeah,
is it really their duty to show people how to behave?
I personally think
or is it just good for the brand that you don't want a lot of gobbing off? No,
I think that if you're in the public eye, or even with people watching you, especially if you've got younger children or the youth watching you, you need to be setting an example of what you should be doing, whether that's exercising on a regular basis, eating healthy, or just the way that you are as a person. Like, manners cost nothing at the end of the day, and being rude to people or disrespectful isn't going to get you anywhere.
Fair point. I just wonder sometimes that we forget how young professional footballers are, It's not just all about kicking a ball of air about. Foul on Zamburek. But yes, well said. Interesting. Well, I look forward to hearing the first
I'd like to say that I am a respectful player, but sometimes I do lose my head.
Okay, well, we shall see.
I could be the first person sin bin from my team this year.
Take it quickly. That's going to be the first thing I'm going to ask you
No.
the time I see you on a Saturday. I've been sin binned yet. Well, corner for Brentford. It's been a pretty lively start to the first half, but really for West Ham, Chris, and this is Brentford's first attack, 8 minutes in, 1-1.
Yeah, I missed the first minute. I was putting about 18 sugars in both your teas, but apart from that...
Not in mine.
There's not
Silent
enough
killer.
sugar in my tea though, Chris.
Oh, God.
Bradley, always think of Bradley Allen when I think silent killer, Bill. That's a poor corner. Comfortable for the keeper and his experienced keeper, David Martin. West Ham had kept one up, but he's well marshalled. Camo's ball back to Patrick Gunnarsson is a little uncomfortable. Here comes the high press. It's been worked well. The new lads are on, Adams and Reed. Reed playing on this left-hand side. Valencia, therefore, having to cut in. First we've seen of him, really, in this half. He's little and he's quick and he's skillful. He's officially the best player in Poland last season, winning the title. And I think it's only because his club got knocked out of the early stages of the Europa League, I think, that helped get that signature over the line. Here comes a long-range shot, but it's shanked over the top of Patrick Gunnarsson's goal. And Neil McFarlane and Sam Saunders explained to their charges what went wrong. What's Alan's role?
Alan has kind of got a dual role now, Alan Steele. He's still the assistant coach, so he still does a lot of coaching on the training ground and is here tonight with the boys. But he's also the technical lead, so he'll have a lot more input in the fixture schedule, the building the contact space, and just overall running of Brentford B team.
Okay. Yeah, very nice lad, always very friendly, Alan Steele. Here comes Joel Valencia down the left-hand side. That's Arthur Reed wearing 11. Makocho. Valencia. It's obviously the first thing that he will learn about playing for Brentford is that time on the ball. There's a smile and a little joke with Sam Saunders about that. But it's something we saw in the Cambridge game. I thought he grew into it. It took him a little time to get used to the fact that he's going to be harried off the ball. The first sign of a mistake, he'd be robbed, and of course straight away the crowd groan, and there's a lot of pressure. And a man who is 19 years old. Good challenge, good timing of the challenge by Arthur Reed. Oh, Makocho loses it cheaply, and West Ham have got one over here. That's good defending in the end from Brentford. Kane O'Connor just getting across his man. That's a little bit of a let-off for me, that. Deeks.
Yeah, a little bit. I think that's just a little bit of misreading the play there from Brentford, not really kind of settling in and just finding the pass, just trying to do a little bit too much, and Kane in the end does really well to actually get back in and defend it.
Good timing of the challenge, because of course he gets that wrong. That's a penalty. 56 gone. Billy Reeves, Amber Lloyd, Chris Deacon with you here at Griffin Park. Floodlights on now. Comes the corner. It's another in-swing. That's a great header clear from Kane O'Connor. Going to come back at Brentford at pace. Good movement.
It's offside.
And offside. Thank you very much, Amber. Referee gets on with it.
That's
Over the top it goes. But it's comfortable for Dave Martin away to our left-hand side. West Ham under-23s who play in Premier League 2. So who do they play? What other clubs are in that at that level?
So just mainly Premier League academies. So in their division they have Manchester United, Newcastle. They've got off to a winning start. They beat Newcastle on Saturday, and the week before I think they beat Leicester 3-0.
Oh, right, okay.
So
and there's promotion and relegation. So yeah, so they'd be top of the league then.
Quite a good side.
Brentford playing the league leaders, West Ham United under-23s here. The original academy, of course.
Producers of the current Chelsea manager.
Yeah, and of course the reason they were called that is because that was a just group of players that used to go out and talk about football. That was your Harry Redknapps and all the rest of it. They were known as the academy. So it was actually a bit of a diss. It was a little bit of a Mickey take from some of the older pros, and it stuck. That's a great throw-in down the left-hand side. That's something that's not coached properly enough, Amber. Throwing in.
Yeah.
I could do that. I could totally do that. Dark arts and throw-ins.
Or you could coach throw-ins, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I could totally coach throw-ins. I've only got one decent shoulder that works, though. But then apparently the long throw is done using majorly the one arm, and you just make it look as though it's with the two. Dave Challoner told me that.
I quite like a long throw.
Oh, I love a long throw. Are you kidding me? Love a long throw. It's the greatest goal of them all, isn't it? Long throw, centre back,
yeah,
meet of the
100%.
forehead, wallop. Brentford now starting to grow into this game. Morganson. West Ham got plenty of players back. Tell you what, it's been a high standard so far. Not much in the way of personal error. Men's challenges going in. It's been a good game, Chris.
It has. Speaking to a couple of people in the stand earlier on, actually, they were really excited to see the two players who've actually come on, Arthur and Joe.
Yeah.
Both have come from lower leagues. Both have got.
Yeah.
I think both on Twitter, certainly, we saw a reaction from their own fans that was pretty confused as to why they let them go.
Yeah.
They were both really hot
Well,
prospects. Arthur had definitely got close to the first team.
Well, in the Berry case, of course, you can understand why that
very
would be.
true. But they're both exciting prospects, and a lot of people were excited to see how they get on. And actually, both so far this season have done really well. Arthur's adapted to it really, really well, and Joe just doesn't seem to stop running.
There's going to be a phalanx of West Ham substitutions this half as they brought so many players with them. Akande, Parks, Kager coming on now. And Brentford are going to make a change as well. Oksanen, wearing number 6, is going to be joining the fray shortly.
You'd imagine for Camo.
Yeah, I think Camo's probably had enough, hasn't he? I'm very much looking forward to the implementation of the law of leaving the field by the nearest exit, as it were, especially if it's over by
the centre circle.
Yeah, especially if it's a player who's leaving by the paddock at Brentford. I'm really looking forward to the first player who's substituting has to walk past the
Do you think that's been brought in because of the time wasting?
Definitely. Do you?
Yeah.
Whether or not it's going to work, as you say, because of course if you're ready,
centre circle, and then you can.
If you're ready to be substituted, you can give it that as you come off. Give it the old round of applause. You come off,
Or even if you get the signal from the touchline, you're straight into the centre circle, no matter what your position is, and then slow walk off.
But then, of course, you can always, referees do add the time on anyway, so it's a psychological time wasting, isn't it? Because it just gets added on anyway.
Of course, but if you're in the flow of the game, then kind of breaks your game down,
disrupt
doesn't
the game.
it?
Yeah. We've seen that plenty of times. But
Which
I'm looking forward.
In your favours, it's good, but
I'm looking forward to someone getting substituted over there in front of the paddock.
Still remember in Portugal last season when Theo Archibald couldn't understand why he was being told to play at right wing, and he was like, "I'm a left back," and Steely was like, "Yeah, no, play on the right wing." 2 minutes later, he was substituted. I think that was more to get him across the other side of the field, but I don't think he quite clocked onto that at the time.
Well, he scored a wonder goal this season, hasn't he?
He's had a superb start. 2 of them. He scored the winner the other day as well.
Oh, did he?
He did. Scored the 92nd minute, I think. Absolutely flying down there.
Yeah, I guess he's definitely a prospect for when Saturday comes. The strange tale of Theo Archibald, because he's had an interesting time as a professional footballer, and I just hope he can work his way up the leagues because he's a very good footballer. But I guess there was no pathway into the first team for him at Brentford. Again, one of those cusp players. Here come West Ham then down this near side. Valencia getting involved. Good man, well played. Joel Valencia can show what he can do. Just showed a little bit too much of it to the defender though in the end and ran into trouble. Reminds me a little bit of Sam Wood, Joel Valencia. He's faster, but gait-wise, Still a little bit to learn, perhaps. We've still not been able to get Oksanen on. Here we go. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Deeks. So Camo gets an hour.
He does, and he gets, I think this is going to be Patrick who gets the armband.
It is.
Which is another way of time wasting as well.
How important is that, Amber? Is it with your player's head on now? How important? It's not as important as it is in rugby or cricket these days. The captain. Is it a ceremonial role, or shouldn't everybody be leaders?
I agree with everyone should be leaders. I think depending on what part of the pitch you play, you are a leader in your part of the pitch. Obviously, I prefer the classic goalkeeper or defender being your captain because they lead from the back and they see everything. But I think that everyone on the pitch, off the pitch, part of the team is a leader. So obviously you've got more vocal players that give the better team talks and the better motivational speeches. But really and truly on the pitch, you are all leaders.
Yeah, because I wonder if that's, obviously that's Pontus Jansson's role with the A team now, Chris, and with Thomas being quite professorial, it was great to bring Kevin into the first team structure so he could be the shouter, the berater of the fourth officicial.
Yeah, I think that's a great move.
But we didn't really have that last season, and Pontus that's very much part of his gig, isn't it? I'm looking forward to it. It'll be the first time I'll have seen him play tomorrow, and what a game in prospect we've got up at Leeds.
We'll certainly get an interesting reaction from the fans.
Yeah. Here come West Ham then, in numbers. Brentford have got 6 inside the box really quickly, have got their shape back, but getting very, very deep. And in the end, safety first. 65 gone, floodlights on, indigo sky. My name's Billy Reeves, and Amber Lloyd and Chris Deacon alongside. 65 gone 1-1. It could go either way, this. Up in there it goes. Patrick Gunnarsson now, as Chris says, wearing the captain's ceremonial armband.
I think the captain's armband in general these days is more ceremonial for the referee. I think he takes a little bit more stick from the captain than he would anyone else.
Well, isn't it the law that, or certainly the spirit of the law, that one is only supposed to speak to the captain?
Yeah, it should only really be the captain. If you've got anything to say, you normally pass it through your captain. Especially now with that sin bin coming in for the descent, I think it's better for us to pass our messages on to our captain for her to then say what she needs to say to them and hopefully get away with it.
Well, it'll be very interesting. I shall be probing you throughout the season, seeing how that's going then. It'll be interesting to see that introduced at higher levels of football, the old sin bin.
It's going to be a very interesting season for us, especially if our keeper gets a sin bin, because she has to go off for 10 minutes, which means an outfield player has to go in goal.
Really?
Yeah.
So change of shirt, gloves, the lot?
I'm not 100% sure if it's obviously change of shirt. I think they might just stick on the gloves and maybe a bib or something. But
I'll tell you what, I'm getting increasingly...
It's crazy because you're going to have to waste time for putting on and taking off gloves.
I'm increasingly getting all for it, the whole sin bin idea now.
So you go down to 10 men. Obviously your keeper's off in the sin bin, so one of your outfield players goes in goal.
Referee's played an advantage there, good advantage. West Ham players still down. It's not cleared. In the end, it's over the top for a corner. Well, the referee might take some action against. Who was it that did the chopping
Kane
down?
O'Connor, but I don't think he will. I think he's kept his cards in his pocket. I think maybe reluctant to give them because of today's game, but definitely in the senior game, that's a foul. Yeah, it's definitely a foul. It was almost a clever foul had he not got the possession back.
Well, I did wonder if he was just so desperately trying to stop Scully, but it didn't. But it's a corner. Scully's okay, which helps, of course. Corner West Ham had the better of this second half. Gunnarsson elects to punch. I think that's the only time you use the word elects in the football lexicon.
That's a great ball.
Brentford have got one over. Reed is lurking. Side netting, and that's disappointing. You had Zamburek screaming for it inside the D. Disappointing in the end. Brentford haven't had much of a sniff of goal in this second half. Arguably had the better maybe overall of the first half, but West Ham have definitely had the better of the second, Amber.
Yeah, I agree.
We're certainly looking to our right-hand side more than we are looking to our left-hand side this half. Tough opposition, though, for the young Bees. It's another attack, but Titov has read that really well. Nice little triangle. Got to go long now, though. A little bit of hold-up play needed by Morganson. He's done well, using his backside and bringing in colleagues into play. That's Johnny Mitchell. So this near side is Zurala. Joel Valencia. Ooh, nice little drop of the shoulder. Oh, Valencia, that's what he can do. Trixie. Oh, just bobbles up really nastily. Well, there you go. If you're wondering what Valencia's all about, we didn't see much of it against Cambridge, but going at people like that and taking them out, that's really exciting.
I thought he should have maybe hit it, though. I mean, he got a little bit of space in front of him. If you're going to lose possession anyway, why not just have a go?
Another West Ham sub coming on. Baptiste this time. So I'll make that 6. Up front. No, inside left half. So a lot of changes for West Ham. Doesn't seem to have disrupted them. In many ways, they've got better.
Fresh legs.
Yeah. A push and run. Gunnarsson's brave. And he's actually taken his own player out in the end.
I think that's what you prefer if you can.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Goalkeeping from Gunnarsson. Called for it and got it. Good, exciting attacking play from the Irons. Valencia does well. There's an overlap here for Brentford. Titov. Here comes the cross. Oh, it's a decent one, but it's just a little bit too near the keeper. 45-degree angle. Arthur Reed being encouraged to stay with his man, but his standing foot gave away. That's easy for Gunnarsson near post. Good positioning from the young Bees keeper. Attempting one round the corner and it's worked. Oh, Morganson's unlucky, he was positive there. Trying to take it inside his man. 71 gone, 1-1. Brentford taking the lead through Brissett on 8. Scully with a late equaliser after Gunnarsson parried a long-range shot from Ashby. Here's Valencia. Now he is going to have a crack, but it's straight down the Adam's apple of David Martin. We haven't had a breather, have we? It's been pretty fast.
It's been back and forward.
Yeah, it really has, hasn't it? Both sides probing for the winner. That's good midfield play from Brentford. Oxan and Calm. Kane O'Connor. Disappointingly, Titov back to the keeper though, nowhere to go. Been impressed with Reed so far. He's very one-footed and he's playing quite deep, but it's been very exciting so far. Could go either way. What's in the diary then, apart from the 2 cups for the B team, Chris Deacon?
We've got a trip to AFC Bournemouth Vitality Stadium coming up for a game down there at the end of this month.
Closed or open doors?
Open doors, I believe.
All right.
At some point in the near future, we'll be playing both Glasgow Celtic and Glasgow Rangers as well.
They're called Rangers and Celtic.
They are,
by the way. Yeah, thank you.
Both based in Glasgow. That's probably going to be at Ibrox and then at Celtic Park, to be fair.
Oh, wow, fantastic. They're under 23s or right, fantastic.
Under 20s, I think. And last season's Rangers game was superb. We had all number of first team players involved in that.
Yeah, because people turn up, fans turn up to those games if they're allowed to, don't they? Got a bye to the second round of the Middlesex.
We did. Same as we did last season. The slightly bigger teams get a bye, so us, Barnet, and the like, and
Morganson,
Harrow after
he's
their
done
final.
well. Zamburek, 2-1Bs. Made absolutely no mistake, a terrific finish. Inside post, 73 minutes gone. And Brentford retake the lead. Brentford 2, West Ham United under-23s 1. Great goal. Amber Lloyd, talk us through it from a coach's point of view.
Very, very confident. You can see it on the screen now.
Inside right channel.
It's a very confident finish.
It almost seemed a bit easy, didn't it? He almost seemed to just drift into the middle and then shoot into the bottom corner. It was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, only one thing on his mind.
Exactly, just completely was always going to go for it.
Lovely left-footed finish from the inside right position. And West Ham caught cold by some sharp passing, but also earlier on in that move, Morganson's hold-up play, strong, and pulled a couple of men out of position. But it was a great ball into the feet of Zamburek. Didn't have to break stride. When I say these things, of course, I pick them up off the telly. I'm not really. I sort of know what that means, but I just pick them up off the telly. When I'm watching Match of the Day and I say what the commentator says 2 seconds later, I'm so pleased with myself. It's only me and the cat sitting there, but proud of myself I am. So, Brentford somewhat against the run of play. Brentford are ahead here, but they have defended well. Stand forward in numbers. Awkward one to the back post. Safety first by David Titoff into Jezza Tunnel for a corner. Brentford have defended these well because they brought everybody back for these. 3 big centre-backs forward again. Lot of movement. Packed penalty area, heads go up. It's only half clear. Brentford have dealt with that. Kane O'Connor with that final header. Oh dear. Joe Adams wanted it to bounce favourably and it didn't, and he's made a bit of a mess of that.
Gustav with the first header there, and that's exactly what he's there for. He's an asset both ends of the pitch.
Oh, it's a terrific header, that first one. Where's he from? Morganson.
Denmark.
Thank you.
Came from AGF, which is the former team and actually current team of Lars Friis.
Thank you. What's Lars Friis doing at AEG?
He's the assistant head coach.
All right, excellent. Lovely man.
Yeah, we said hello to him when we went to Denmark last time. He came in when we were watching. We were lucky enough to go to Midtjylland versus Rangers in the Europa League.
Ah, right, of course, yeah. Oh, good play from Tito. He watched that all the way, did he not, Amber? That was good.
Yeah, great defending.
Good full-back play. And he's on his bike. Foul not given there. God, there's a couple of roughy-tufty challenges going in there. Referee lets it go. Waiting for support here, but he's beaten 3 players on this little run. And well defended. Oh, some great play down the left-hand side from West Ham United U23s. I guess you're a bit of an expert on Danish football now, innit?
I'd say we're definitely on the way there. There's quite a few people of that persuasion at the football club.
Yeah, we are. I think we all are. There's someone I've met down here who's very much an expert in Danish football, or at least a couple. Brentford 2-1 to the good here. As we head towards the denouement. Ranging run from Cirilla. Fancied himself. Here comes Joel Valencia. Looks like he's going to be given the full 90. But again, just decision making, isn't it? It'll get better. It'll get better. He's just susceptible to a tackle, I think, at the moment. So some minutes for Drew Yearwood, who had about 50, didn't he, in the end? Camo Makocho, who had just over an hour. And Joel Valencia, who is still among us. West Ham making hay down that far side, that left-hand side. Oh, I think that got poor old Zamburek right in the mooey there. He's gone down, having taken one either to the face or the throat. I think he's okay, though. Referee is saying no need for the magic sponge. Stroke isotonic drink. Yeah, he's okay. Round of relieved applause from the Brentford faithful. Have we had an attendance yet? I might put you in charge of finding that out, Christy.
Not yet. Thank you,
I think
mate.
you should just count
Welcome
everyone.
the responsibility.
1, 2.
Good defending from Brentford. Went down too easily, the West Ham man, for me there. It's back in numbers, determined. Maybe, I'm thinking there might be an app. I mean, there's an app for everything else.
What, for counting the crowd attendance?
For counting crowds. I mean, you know, face recognition technology and all that. There was a club today, I can't remember who it was, we were talking, it was Man City, wasn't it? They were talking about using face recognition to get people in the ground quicker and to stop people that haven't got tickets getting in and some such. Face recognition technology at a football ground, stone me. 1984, man. Heading towards the last 10 minutes. Sam Saunders still on his feet in front of us, deep in thought. West Ham again, they seem to have found a route down that left-hand side. Perhaps Brentford have now sussed it out, but they've broken those lines, playing those balls between centre-back and wing-back. And a few pacey runs down the touchline. That's good, brave play from Reece Hannam. But he's out of position now. One over, early cross. Brentford have picked up the loose one. Here's Zamburek, fancies it, right foot this time. Not far off. That all stemmed from me, with your coach's head on then, Amber Lloyd. That seemed to stem from Hannam getting caught out of position, and then Brentford exploited the space behind him.
Yeah, it looks like his calves are tight. Might be suffering from a little bit of cramp.
Yeah, good play from Brentford. It's good to see Zamburek confident enough to think, I can take charge of this chap, so I'm having a go here. Ooh, lovely little ball from Gunnarsson. Teet off. O'Connor.
I've got an official attendance if you want one.
Yes, please.
526.
And how many did you say?
I think I was about 524, I said earlier.
we were all way off there. Well, that's a very impressive turnout, that. 526. Oh, well played. Central to Morganson. Can he get it out from under his feet? Doesn't need to.
Ooh.
Well, Sam Saunders certainly thought that was a penalty. A little wry grin to the West Ham coaches from Sam. He'll shout for everything. There's another West Ham, Belic. Yeah, it looks as though Hannam's coming off because he's injured there. Good spot, Amber. And Sam Saunders appealed for that penalty. Star-shaped he was, shouting, referee! On the pitch he was. And then turned to the West Ham bench.
Got to shout for it though, haven't you?
Totally. Turned to the West Ham bench with an almost apologetic grin, all teeth. I think he enjoyed that, did Sam? Oh, hello.
Oh.
Hello. Good pressure. Good pressure, though, from Morganson. Oh, nice play, Brentford. That was brave. Here's Valencia. Not too many to beat, perhaps. Arthur Reed's up there with him. There's some space here. Oh, Reed disappointedly can't get it onto his favoured left foot. There's some proper challenges going in here. It's been refereed well. Referee Sonny Gill. Sonny Gill. Excuse me, there's Kai Corbett. Please tell me he's known as Ronnie in the dressing room.
Not with that hairstyle.
One for the teenagers there. No, not with that. The early Lasse Vibe hairdo.
Diego Forlan style.
Heavy metal. Lasse seems to be doing all right, bless him.
Yeah, he scored the other day.
Yeah. Still banging them in. This is why, dear listener, we don't need to worry about the fact that we're playing a slightly different style. Thomas will work it out. Who's supposed to be where? We didn't think Lasse Vibe was a striker, did we? We didn't think Neil Morpay was any good when he first started playing. It will be fine. West Ham look the most likely. 84 on the clock.
Just noticed Michael Parker's come on as well, so you got all subs made by West Ham.
Tired from Reed. One over right-hand side, Corbett. Oh, that's an essential half clearance from Kane O'Connor. Can play right back or centre back. That's also an important intervention. The shouting you can hear, the hoarse shouting you can hear is Neil McFarlane. Get up to the ball, I think was the instruction there, if you didn't hear it. Brentford are 5-10 yards away from their men at the moment. West Ham, as Amber said, fresh legs on the pitch. That is a good challenge. Didn't get much of the ball there, did Oksanen, but it was a really important intervention. But Valencia's fast, but he's not that fast. West Ham now developing down this near side. 5 minutes on the clock. Brentford 2-1 to the good here. That's nice. Reed needs a little bit of time for the ball to come towards him. Kane O'Connor back to his keeper and skipper, Gunnarsson. Johnny Mitchell. That is Cerula. Here's Reed again. Seen quite a lot of it. There's Arthur Reed. Runs into trouble there. And Cerula's got to get back. He's busting a gut to do so. That is actually a poor ball. I think he needed a little bit of a outswing on that, Amber Lloyd.
Yeah.
West Ham coach said his head in his hands. I think he just didn't even realise how much time he had. Like, Nick wasn't getting back there, and Johnny certainly wasn't anywhere near him. There's so much time. You know, you're 86 minutes in. Have a little bit of awareness.
Cerula's determination to get back there reminded me of the loneliness of the long-distance runner. His head was back, tossing to one side, tossing to the...
That's the worst kind of run, though.
Exactly, yeah. When you've lost your rhythm, but it showed a lot of determination and passion. Morganson, he read the flight of the ball, but just couldn't get enough forward on it. And West Ham can break. 3 are up, 4, 5 now.
17's motoring as well.
Oh, that's a cracker. Only one thing on his mind, wasn't there? Wasn't going to use any support at all. And West Ham achieved parity. One of the substitutes, Nathan Holland, with a right wing, with a right-footed shot from the inside left channel. No stopping that for Pat. Chris?
No, I think there's a little bit of confusion between Kane and Johnny there as to, it's one of those for, as a defender, when the striker is just going to decide to shoot, but he's got about 2 or 3 options. As a defender, you can't cover all 3 of them, so I think they just stood there, and that allows him to get the shot away. And you know, Pat's good, but he's not going to reach that top corner. It was a good effort.
As you say, we were expecting him to cross the ball, to redevelop it, but he just seemed to be determined, Holland, to get his shot away. Here come Brentford again, though. Little grubber into the box, left-footed from Joe Adams. West Ham now look the most likely, I would argue. Here comes Corbett, right-hand side. He's got support. He's got runners stretching Brentford's back line. And in the end, it's neither one thing nor t'other, fortunately. Amber, would you say it's a fair reflection of the game overall, 2-2?
Yeah, I think Brentford look a little tired now. They've pressed the ball quite a lot, so a lot of running, especially when West Ham have made so many changes. Fresh legs, it's quite difficult to keep that up.
Titoff on the overlap. There he is. Needs a decent cross. Doesn't beat the first man. It's a corner. Yeah, you go off because often the argument is, Amber, that loads of substitutes disrupt the team, but I think West Ham have been better second half than they were first. Sam Saunders and Neil McFarlane are ordering positions. Oh, it's a nice, clever turn. Comes to naught, unfortunately, for Valencia. Nicely worked. Proper reserve team football with
having to fetch your own ball.
Zamburek on the terraces. Lovely work. Terrible on the anterior cruciate ligament, though, I would have thought, Jan. Steady. Jan Zamburek then. Left-footed. 89 on the clock. 2-2. Near post. Clear, doesn't beat the first man. Comes back in. Heads go up. Good header clear from Parker. Danger of the break on, but it's marshalled well by Oksanen. He's a big unit, Parker, and it's not going to get past him.
Good challenge.
How about that for a challenge? 2 minutes then to play. Arthur Reed, Joel Valencia moving it quickly. Oh, it just didn't bagatelle to a Brentford player. Risky challenge from Titoff, out of control.
He's done all right in the end. Bum
on the ground, used as a skateboard, but he's timed it well. Gets to the byline, but just slightly off balance, I think. And it goes harmlessly out of play. 2-2. 2-2 to play. So the last thing we'll do, Amber, then, if you don't mind, when the final whistle goes, we'll give you the floor, as it were, to advertise your wares and what's going on, okay, as far as the Community Sports Trust coaching, where and whens.
Yep.
So sharpen your pencil, and when it's full time, you can let us know what we need to know. All right?
Of course.
Kane O'Connor does well. And it's dribbled harmlessly out of play on this near side. Sam Saunders deep in thought in front of us. I think they'll be relatively pleased. We'll just get through this last 90 seconds, and that'll be what I'll ask Chris at the very end of this narrow cast, is how he feels it's gone. Oh, it's a great ball from Valencia. Morganson's there. Oh, just enough of a touch from the defender and goalkeeper acting as 70 sweeper. Oh, it's a mistake. Valencia, goalkeeper's back, and he just doesn't get enough on it. Well, two absolute gilt edges at the end, and the Scottish voice you can hear saying unbelievable is the Brentford B team coach, Neil McFarlane, right at the end there. Could have won it. Brentford 2, West Ham United under 23s 2. Brentford taking the lead earlier on through Brissett, equalised by Scully towards the end of that half. Nathan Holland with the second equaliser on 87 minutes, which cancelled out Zamburek's left foot strike just before the end. So Brentford had the lead twice, and 2-2, I think, a fair result. Amber Lloyd then from Brentford Football Club's Community Sports Trust, coach, left-footed defender of Maidenhead United. It's been an absolute pleasure having your company. Tell us what we need to know about what's going on at the Sports Trust for the rest of the school holidays.
Okay, so we've only got a couple of weeks left of the school holidays. We are running soccer camps for children at Gillette Corner, which is goals. in Osterley, and that's ranging from the ages of 5 to 12 for boys. And we also have girls soccer camps Thursday and Friday this week. That is from 5 to 12-year-olds and also 12 to 16-year-olds as well. We also have evening sessions for kids from the ages of 8 to 16 or 18 across the Hounslow, Ealing and Richmond Borough, and they are free. So I'd definitely say get onto our website, Brentford FC Community Sports Trust, have a look through there. If you ever need to contact us, then go for it, give us a ring and we should be able to help you out.
So you can just Google Brentford FC Community Sports Trust. I understand there's a sub-page on the Brentford Football Club website as well.
Yeah, there should be on the website, but if you just have a look at that, then it breaks it down into the soccer camps that we've got during the school holidays, Saturday morning sessions, evening sessions, and our football development centres, which I head up.
Excellent, and of course you're around with Ryan Murrant at Griffin Park on match days. Where can we find you on match days here?
If you find Buzz and Buzzette, you'll find me next to them. That's where I'm at.
Mascot handler.
Yeah, mascot handler. I run Buzz and Buzzette's Instagram, so if you have Instagram, and feel free to follow Buzz and Buzzette.
Buzz and Buzzette don't run their own Instagram account. They've got a social media
Unfortunately not.
manager.
They're very, very busy on match days.
Well, it's been a pleasure having your company, Amber. Chris, how do you think that the coaches, Neil and Sam and Alan, will look at that run out today? I
think they'll be really pleased with that. I think that was, from their perspective, that's exactly what you want from the B team. It's a fast-paced game. It's one that's, back and forward the whole time. I think you saw good stories and bad stories out there. A few really good moments, a few quite poor ones. But yeah, I think looking back at that, you'd really want that kind of standard of game every single week if you were to ask them straight out.
Minutes for 3 first-teamers, presumably not going to Leeds, those 3.
I wouldn't rule it out, but I'd probably say less likely to after a lot of minutes for each one. Good to see Camo back out there. I think you saw in the first half he can absolutely dictate play, and he's great at winning the ball back. That's something that we really enjoy in the first team. And yeah, from Joel, we saw him grow into that game. By the end of the second half, he was really causing a difference.
Yeah, and as you've heard exclusively on this narrowcast, Saeed Benrahma has had 45 minutes down at Jersey Road today in a friendly match, and he has been taken to Leeds by Kevin O'Connor. So hopefully we'll see Saeed tomorrow causing havoc at Elland
45
Road.
minutes in a game, 4 hours one-to-one coaching, I'd say.
Yeah, I might know. Presumably they'll be listening to some groovy music on the way. You know what Kev's like.
Probably.
Well, it's a pleasure having your company wherever you may be. Billy Reeves, Amber Lloyd, Chris Deacon signing off. Ta-ta.